Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
"10X your business starting today with digital marketing from Just Minding My Business Media, LLC, on JMMB Media TV or Mindset Movers TV. Contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Alice Walker. Today, we welcome Cristina Rodriguez, a first-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, third-degree TKD black belt, and co-owner of Gracie Pack MMA and BJJ and MMA School in Tampa, Florida. She is the founder of Grow Pro Agency, a digital marketing agency for martial arts academies. As a partner in marketing with schools, their core focus is to help school owners gain the freedom they want in their business. She is also the digital marketing consultant for the Martial Arts Industry Association and runs her own mastermind program called the A-Team. Welcome, Cristina.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Yes, we're pumped to have you. So,
right.
Tell me how you got started.
Yeah, so I first stepped on the martial arts floor back in March 15th, 1993. My mom picked me up from school. She said, "We're going to go try Taekwondo," hop in the car. And that was the day that forever changed the path and the journey of my life. I fell in love with martial arts. I've been training ever since, never taken any time off. And I knew at a very young age that that's the dream job that I wanted to impact people's lives through training in the martial arts. I think most people have this misconception that martial arts is just punching and kicking. And it really is a vehicle to helping you reach your human potential. So back in 2012, after many years of martial arts, after a degree in elementary education from the University of South Florida, I opened up my first martial arts school called Gracie Pack MMA here in Tampa, Florida. And it has been a lifelong dream come true. And I basically built the business, and it got to a point where it was running like a well-oiled machine. I've got an amazing rock star team that, implements all the systems and processes. And I've been able to focus on other dreams and other careers that I wanted to build. I'm a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur. I've got a couple of different businesses, but they're all in the martial arts niche. So I've always stayed true to that passion that I have with the martial arts.
Okay, wow. I had my son in the martial arts. You know how you taking your kids to try different stuff to see what they like, because they don't know, they don't have any reference. You just have to kind of put them in different things and see. And his thing was art. So he likes sketching and animation. So the martial arts wasn't for him. But anyway, I'm happy to hear about it because I do have friends that are black belts and really passionate about the art. Now, you've mentioned something about a lot of people think of it as just the fighting portion of it. Talk a little bit about the mental side and what it does for you mentally.
Yeah, sure. So, martial arts is an interesting sport because it's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport. So if I want to be able to get better at wrestling or striking or grappling, I need a partner to be able to do that. But in any type of self-defense situation, I'm on my own. Same thing with competing in tournaments. And the best martial arts schools not only teach proper self-defense, but they also teach life skills as well. You often hear that martial arts helps to develop discipline and confidence and focus and respect. And that is actually the number one reason why parents bring their kids to our martial arts school. It's not because, they're super concerned about bully situations. That is part of it. But predominantly, the number one benefits that parents are looking for are those life skills. And I don't know any other sport that does as good of a job as martial arts in teaching those life skills, because again, yes, it is a team sport, but it's also very much an individual sport. And a part of our program at my academy is the stripes and the belts, which are the awards, the rewards, those extrinsic rewards that the students get. It's not just based off of their martial arts ability. It's based off of them becoming the best version of themselves, right? We want to reach our human potential, and that's just not physically. It also has to do with respect and focus and kindness and empathy. And we end every single one of our classes with what we call a mat chat, where we focus on a different life skill of the week and a different manner of the week. So we're not just here trying to create awesome martial artists. Our ultimate goal is to create awesome human beings. And when we do that, our ripple effect widens and we can have a much stronger impact in our communities.
I really appreciate what you're saying. So can you talk to us a little bit, because I know the discipline, you have the physical discipline of the activity itself, but how does that relate to developing the internal discipline? I don't know if you can put that into words or if you have specific exercises that they go through, because it's not just physical discipline, it's an internalized discipline.
Yeah, great question, right? So it's definitely not just physical, it's also mental. Discipline is something that I think is also tied in with confidence. How do we become confident in something? Well, we're competent in something. We do it over and over and over again. We get good at it. And now that we're competent in it, that helps to build confidence. So, part of the discipline aspect of coming to the martial arts is, hey, if you want to be able to achieve stripes and you want to be able to achieve belts, which it's interesting how hard somebody will work for a piece of electrical tape, because that's all a stripe on a belt is. It's a piece of electrical tape. But what it represents is progress in life. And I truly believe that happiness is tied in with progression. I believe that we are happiest in life when we feel like we're progressing in a certain area. And in order to earn those stripes and those belts, you got to be disciplined enough to come to class. Attendance is a part of it, right? So if we are able to set up these parameters, if you want to earn your stripe or your belt, you've got to be consistent in coming to class. That is going to help develop that discipline, right? Also the discipline of, okay, we're going to ask you to do an exercise. We're going to ask you to perform a form or a punch or a technique. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to feel awkward at first, but the more reps that you get, the more and faster you will master that. And when that happens, that confidence starts kicking in, and that just feeds right back into that discipline. So, it's definitely, yes, we've got to be, disciplined in physically building our body, but also just showing up is going to help develop the mental strength that you need as well. I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yes. So that kind of leads to another question. Just to ask you, have you had any one particular student, you don't have to mention names, that you really saw them come in one way and within a period of time develop into something that even amazed them and their parents?
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, most parents call because they're looking for a life skill to be developed. And oftentimes it's confidence. I'm a new parent. I have a 17-month-old, and one of the skills that I want him to definitely have, the characteristics, is confidence. So we see a lot of kids that when they first come in, they don't make eye contact. They won't shake your hand properly. They'll hide behind their parent's leg, right? And it's just difficult for them to come out of their shell. And part of it is they're in a brand new environment, right? For even us as adults, when we're in a brand new environment, right? Oh, we got to go to somebody's house that we've never been to, or we were invited to an outing and we don't know those people, right? That can sometimes put us in our shell. And what I love about watching my students, and I mean, I have so many success stories. We've been doing this for almost a decade now. We've helped thousands of kids in our Tampa Bay area. My favorite success stories are the ones where you have the shy kid and you watch them develop into a community leader because of the curriculum, because of the programs, that you have. But, I truly believe that martial arts is a life skill similar to swimming. So I'm in Florida. There are body of waters everywhere. Everybody's got a pool in their backyard, right? It's the number one death of children, I believe, under the age of 5 is drowning. I believe as a parent, one of the skills we would want our children to have is the ability to swim. Would we agree with that?
Yes.
100%, right? Like my child has to have the ability to swim. I look at martial arts as the same type of life skill because there will be, it's not an if, there will be a time where your child will get bullied. There will be a time where your child will be put in an uncomfortable situation. And even if it's not a physical situation, most bullying nowadays is even worse, due to social media, right? It's not even like a face-to-face type of bullying situation. So I truly believe that martial arts is in the same category of swimming, that there will be a time that your child will encounter a bully situation or one of their friends will encounter a bully situation. And it is our duty as parents to provide them with the resources, the tools, the techniques that they need. And I'm not talking about fighting techniques. I'm talking about being able to make eye contact, being able to verbally discuss with that bully why they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, being able to be confident enough to say no and to stand up for yourself, and teaching our students to use those tools before we ever use these tools. Mm-hmm. I've been doing the martial arts for almost 30 years. I've never been in an altercation, never been in a street. I've done MMA fights in the cage, right? But I have never been in a street fight. And it's because I don't put myself in those types of situations. And if I did, I'm confident enough to walk away. I have nothing to prove to this person. So I truly believe that martial arts is in that same category of swimming. And I truly believe that the world would be a much healthier and more confident place if more kids, especially, were introduced to the martial arts at a young age.
So what are the ages?
Yeah, so I mean, each martial arts school is different. We start them as young as 3 years old. So we have a 3 and 4 year old program. So one of the things that is a differentiator for us in our program is we separate the kids by different learning developmental stages. A 3-year-old and a 6-year-old are on 2 different planets, right? A 3-year-old is still in VPK, 6-year-old's going into 1st grade. They've been in school for a while. So we group them by their learning developmental stages so that as teachers, it's easier for us to teach them. And as students, it's easier for them to learn. That way we can also tweak the curriculum to be age appropriate. So we start them as young as 3. They're sponges at that age. We use what we call edutainment. So we educate them while we entertain them. That's a Disney World term that Disney uses. And it's really more about keeping your hands to yourself, how to sit properly, how to stand properly, how to respond with yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. So it's more of the life skills and learning hand-eye coordination and agility than the actual punching and kicking. Because really at that age, they can't really determine the difference between doing that in the martial arts school and going home and doing that and doing it at the VPK. So we really try to focus game-based learning. That's how kids learn the best. And that's how adults learn the best, when we're having fun. And they really are sponges at that age. So we start them as young as 3 years old and, all the way up. I think our oldest student is in his 60s. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
I was going to ask you about that. How your oldest person and martial arts and older ones.
Yeah, I think as our age progresses, as our body progresses, depending on how well you've taken care of yourself, that will kind of determine the level of intensity that you can come into the class. The beautiful thing about the martial arts is, again, it is a team sport, but it's also an individual sport, and you're not in competition with anybody that's there except for who you were the day before, right? I'm not in competition with anybody else that's on the mat. I'm in competition with the Cris from yesterday. I just want to become 1% better. So with what we do, it's important to know and recognize what your limitations are, because injuries are a real thing in any sport, right? Doesn't matter what sport it is. I mean, you can get injured. So being, I think coming into it, with knowing where you're at. It's kind of interesting, right? The beginning of the year, everybody makes New Year's resolutions. The gyms are packed for the first 2 weeks, and I'm going to work out 7 days. Like, no, you're not. Just pick 2 days a week, and let's start with that. So knowing what your limitations are, and just not trying to be better than anybody else except for the person that you were yesterday. That would be my recommendation.
That's awesome. I like that in anything that we're doing. Be better
Absolutely.
than the person we were the day before. We can apply that across the board. So I don't know, there's so many things we want to ask you. You have so much going on. I see your background, skyrocket sales, recruit more, something about skills.
Recruit more students and level up skills.
Okay, so talk a little bit about what those signs are about, please.
Yeah, so right now I'm in my GrowPro agency office. So this is currently, I guess you would say, my current baby out of all of the businesses that I have. We started this about 2.5 years ago, and we're a digital marketing agency specific for martial arts schools. So once my martial arts school got to a place where it was operating as a well machine, I had a phenomenal team in place. I wasn't really needed anymore. So that gave me the extra time and the extra space to start working on other projects. The next project that I started working on was a coaching and a consulting platform. And as a consultant in any industry, the number one question you get is, how do I increase sales? How do I get more clients, right? That's what we all want to know. How do we get more clients? And for me in my martial arts school, I had the most success with digital marketing, doing paid ads on Facebook ads as well as Google ads. So I started teaching my clients how to do it. But it's not necessarily why you open up a business, right? I don't open up a martial arts school because I want to be sitting behind a computer launching Facebook ads. It's confusing, it's difficult. So I realized that this was something that school owners ultimately needed to outsource. And that's when GrowPro Agency was born. So this is about 2.5 years ago. And we currently serve 200 martial arts schools all over the world. And we got clients in Canada, clients in the UK. We've had clients in Australia. And I've got an in-house team of 13 people. So our agency is a little bit different than most. Most digital marketing agency rely heavily on VAs, virtual assistants. You can hire them from the Philippines, from Pakistan. You can pay them very, very little amounts, $3 to $5 an hour. But what I've recognized is that the agencies that do that always have customer service issues. Because I've owned a brick and mortar where I'm face to face with my customers, we put the customer experience at the top of our, to-do list. Mm-hmm. So I actually have 13 people in-house. I own the office building that we're in, and it just allows us to provide a better customer experience because I don't have 15 VAs that are in a different time zone where that English isn't their first language. So we took a massive hit during COVID. Our martial arts school did, our agency did. But throughout COVID, we've seen explosive growth, like 300%, because once these businesses opened up, they needed to make up for the lost time. They needed to make up the lost revenue. They needed to make up losing all of those clients. And one of the best ways to do that is with digital marketing, which is what we specialize in. So that's what GrowPro Agency is, but we only run ads for martial arts schools. And it works really well because I've I'm in the trenches, just like these other martial arts schools. So we have immediate rapport because just like them, I own a school. I know what it's like to have to wear all of those hats. And because I'm also a consultant, I can help them with other aspects of their business besides just lead generation and building traffic. So that's what the digital marketing agency is. And that's what the background is. That's, our 3 pillars of success. We're going to help school owners level up their skills. We're going to help them recruit more students. And when you have more students, you ultimately skyrocket your sales.
Absolutely. So how do people get in contact with you?
Yeah, probably, growproagency.com would be the best way. That's got all of our contact information. Or they could find me on Facebook, Cristina Lee Rodriguez on Facebook.
That is interesting because that's what we do, digital marketing. So we are definitely very interested in what you're talking about because we're in that same business as well. Back to the school. Now, when you're working, let's talk about the seniors a little bit. When you're working with your seniors, how does that flow?
Yeah, so, we have kids programs, and that is the bulk of our focus. So we're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, which is very different than karate, right? When you think karate, you think punch, you think kick. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a ground art. It's what happens on the ground. And that's ultimately where most altercations happen, especially any type of altercation with a female. Typically, they're going to want to put us down on the ground. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teaches you how to defend yourself on the ground. Because of that, it is a very, very physical art. And in our programs, we separate them by, we have an introductory level program, we have an intermediate program, and we have an advanced program. So as a beginner, regardless if you're 65 years old or 25 years old, you're going to be in a skill appropriate class. And all of our instructors have gone through instructor training, and they're all certified instructor trainings underneath myself and Gracie Pack. And we have a curriculum that is laid out, that rotates, which ensures that no matter when you come in as a beginner, you're going to be learning the basics. And everything is at your own pace, right? So you're not going to be forced to do anything. You're not going to be forced to have to go do these push-ups or these burpees or things like that. And everything can be modified, right? The same way when you go to do a push-up. If you are not currently strong enough to do a full push-up on your toes, there's modifications that you can do to make it easier. So we always try to supply those modifications depending on body types and, strength and things of that nature.
Wow, this is really energetic. You're very energetic.
Thank you. I had some coffee beforehand.
So I'm trying to think about everything that you've talked to us about. Now, do you work with any of the public schools or disadvantaged youth or anything like that?
Yeah, so we've actually developed, we call them partnerships in education with a lot of the local elementary schools. As a marketing company, it's important that you know your avatar, right? You know your ideal client. For us, our ideal client is children. And where is a building where there are tons of children? There's elementary schools, right? So we have always tried to develop relationships, which we call partnerships in education, with the schools, where we go to the school and we ask them, how can we help you? Do you need, a sponsorship for the PTA? Would you like us to come in and be a PE teacher for the day? Can we volunteer to help with the car line? Would you like for us to come in and speak to the kids about the importance of focus or doing your homework or being kind to each other? Do you need us to run a supply drive for you where we can donate supplies that our students, bring into the facility? So we always try to go to these schools with an open hand because they need help. I'll never forget the first time I wrote $100 check to a school. And I'm not trying to discredit $100. It's a good amount of money, but it's not thousands of dollars. And the look on the counselor's face when I handed them that $100 check, I will never forget. They were so grateful for that. And she said, you don't understand what this means to us. You just paid for our entire daddy-daughter dance. like an entire event we were able to help, put on. We've taught ninja clubs at the local schools before, where we actually go in once a week, and after school during club time, we teach the kids martial arts. So we definitely developed, partnerships in education. We've sponsored kids. We try to connect very closely with the counselors, because the counselors are typically the ones that are seeing the kids that are struggling the most. And their number one recommendation to the parents is to bring them to us so we can help them develop those life skills that they're struggling with. We've also worked with, nonprofit organizations as well, parents that wouldn't be able to normally afford our programming, and we're able to, work a deal to get the kid inside. Because, like I said, I don't think there's any other sport that really can be the vehicle to reaching your human potential the way that martial arts is. Nobody sits the bench in martial art. We don't have a bench, right? In baseball, if you're not good enough, you're sitting on the bench. In football, if you're not good enough, you're sitting on the bench. There is no bench in the martial arts, which really helps to put, the student first.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting
That's
concept.
awesome. That's a very good concept.
Actually, yeah, that's just really important. Not being benched. So many young people have their dreams and, I don't know, their feelings crushed when they really want something, and then they're told, oh no, you're not good enough. It's not said outright. They're just slid to the side and left to marinate over there on the bench, and which makes it's hard on their self-esteem. So
Sure.
I rather like the idea of a situation in which everyone can participate at their own level. Children need to have their self-esteem bolstered. So I love that this is part of your program, part of what you do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm loving everything about what you're doing. And it's definitely different than what we normally encounter in our interviews. So that's definitely a plus there. And you're an amazing person. Your energy levels are off the roof. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
that vibrates to your clients, your staff, and everybody who you work with. So again, how do people contact you?
Yeah, just growproagency.com would be the best way. That's going to be the easiest and fastest way. Our email and contact information is in there. And, I know we're wrapping up here, but I'd like to just kind of touch on something that you had said earlier. You said that you're doing a lot of things, and those things can only be done if you develop skill sets. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I think the year 2020 really proved to us was, can the skill sets that you have, or can the skill sets that you have the potential to acquire help you get out of a really, really bad situation? So martial arts schools, right in the beginning of March, this was 2 weeks after my son was born. So I'm a brand new mother. And now I'm being told by the government that I've got to shut down my school that has hundreds of students. Immediately, I think any entrepreneur got nervous and got scared. And instead of sitting there and griping and having a victim mentality, I said, okay, well, we can't have martial arts in our school. We can't bring people to our school, but can we take martial arts to them? And fortunately, with platforms like Zoom, we were able to offer online classes. We were able to become a staple in these kids' lives when everything else got canceled for them, when school was canceled, when music lessons were canceled. There's no more football. There's no more basketball. We were still that consistent staple in their lives. And the feedback we got from the parents was just amazing. They said, nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is putting this effort in. And we pivoted. And because of that, we survived. I mean, we lost a third of our clientele, but I was able to keep my entire staff on. Nobody missed a paycheck. And that's because of the skills that were developed. So to any entrepreneur that's out there, skills are nothing. It's not anything that anybody can ever take away from you. Once you have that skill set, it is yours forever. And then you can figure out how you can leverage it, how you can change people's lives with it, and how you can monetize it. Because if we're not making money in the business, it ain't going to be a business for too long.
Thank you, dynamic Cristina Rodriguez.
Thank you, ma'am.
So much.
Absolutely. We can't wait to have you back. And
Anytime.
I am so grateful that you graced our stage today. And I know our audience is going to love every minute of you. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.